Welcome, I am Dr. Umanath, Associate Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Amartya University, Chennai, India. So, today's session we are going to discuss about the mechanical properties and phase diagram of the steel material. Why going to discuss about this topic? Steel used for around 60% of the world. For many of the products are used for steel. So, let us discuss deeply for slides mechanical properties and phase diagram of the steels. So, first content we are going to discuss about what are the common engineering materials and various steel properties of uses, mechanical properties of steels, hardness, ductility, malleability, impact strength of the steels and its phase diagram of the ferrous and carbide alloy. So, we are going to discuss these are the content under this topic. See, classification of engineering materials. Normally engineering materials are two types of engineering materials, metallic materials and non-metallic materials. So, metallic materials means we have some properties should have for mechanical properties, like important things are magnetic content and some ferrous content. Some of the metallic behavior atoms are available in the metallic materials. Like normally in non-metallic materials these are the things are not available. So, in metallic material we classify two types, ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. But non-metallic materials we have two types, organic and inorganic materials. Consider for ferrous metal two types of ferrous metal, steels and cast iron. Non-ferrous metals we have lot of non-ferrous metals, aluminum, copper, magnesium, tin, zinc, lead, nickel and other alloys. So, variety of non-ferrous metals are available in under the metallic materials. So, steels, if you take steel, the plain carbon steel, steel alloys and alloy steels are available. Cast iron, if you take different kind of cast irons are available, grey cast iron, white cast iron, malleable cast iron, ductile cast iron. So, these are under the metallic materials where ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. Again another sides we consider non-metallic materials like organic materials and inorganic materials. In this organic material, plastic, wood, papers, rubber, leather, petroleum products are under these organic materials. Then inorganic materials, minerals, cement, glass, ceramics, then graphites. So, these are the things are under the engineering materials. Which are the metals or non-metals are used under the application of the engineering field. So, we normally called as engineering materials. In this metallic material we are going to consider for only metals. Under the metal we are going to consider for the steel. So, how this classification of steel? So, it is coming from the metals alloy. So, metals normally classify two types of metals, one is ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. So, in this ferrous metal the steel is one of the ferrous metal and another one ferrous metal is a cast iron. These two things are considered as a ferrous metal, other things are non-ferrous metal. So, steel, so normally it is classified based on the carbon content. The carbon content is less than 2% of carbon is normally called as steel. Then more than 2% to 6.5% is normally called as cast iron. So, this is a classification of the steel metals. So, top steel producing countries and companies around the China producing 803.8 million tons per annum, Japan producing the 105.2 millions. So, normally in India, under India is around 89.4 millions tons of steels are producing per year. So, these are the data given in this steel sector. So, then company are used, many of the companies are used steel materials like in India Tata Steel Groups, SAIL, Jindal Steel Limited are used to 26 to 12% of millions of tons. So, this graph shows the world crude steel production in this last 50 years. For this manufacturing of the steels are around 50% of the steels are manufacturing in around the world, remaining other metals are manufacturing. So, let us discuss the steels are various usage in this around the world, not only in India, in foreign other countries. Why? Because of the strength of the steel and toughness of the steel are very good. So, let us discuss about the different classification of the steel material. So, steel normally is a low alloy steel and high alloy steels. We classify two types of steel. Low alloy steels, so mostly the alloy components are less than 10% of other elements. So, low alloy steels are classified into three types: low carbon steels, medium carbon steel, and then high carbon steels. Low carbon steels means is a less than 2.5% of the carbon content available in the steel metal. Medium carbon steel means is a 0.25 to 0.6% of carbon content, and then normally in high carbon steels 0.6 to 1.4% of carbon content. After that 1.4 to 2% is a very high carbon steel. So, another side is high alloy steels. So, high alloy steels are more than 10% of alloy components may be added into the steel to get the improve the properties of the steel. So, likely commonly high alloy steels are tool steels, another one is a stainless steel. In this stainless steels more than 11% of chromium is available. So, in the low alloy steel we also called as the plain carbon steel in American Iron Steel Institute. So, this plain carbon steel is a minimum content specified alloying elements of chromium, aluminum, tungsten, nickel. So, these are alloy contains very small, so normally called as plain carbon steel, or maybe is not available, we called as plain carbon steels. So, the effect of increasing the carbon content of the steel. So, when what happen this low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel, when you increase the carbon content, the steel properties are increases. What are the steel properties are increases? Let us discuss. The increase in the hardness and strength, increasing of the toughness, decrease of the weldability, decrease in ductility, decrease in machinability. So, these are the effect happen when you increase in the carbon content of the steel. Low carbon steels, so you already discussed less than 0.25% of the carbon content is low carbon steel. Normally, it is have good ductile property. The good ductile property means most of the metals are used in the making plates, making wires. So, what are the metals are used in the wires and used in the plates, and we called as low carbon steel. It is made up of low carbon steel. So, what are the different alloy components may be added in this low carbon steel? So, copper, vanadium, nickel you may add to increase the content of the alloy to get the required properties. Then this is mostly low carbon steel applications are beams, channels, nuts, bolt, wires, tin cans are used in the low carbon steel materials. So, low carbon steels, why it is widely used in the world in many products? Because of the less expenses, tensile strength is the minimum tensile strength, so it is optimum for compared to other non-porous metals. So, outstanding elongation, so it is 25% of elongation will get for compared to other metals. Also high machinability and weldability, relatively it is soft and weak metal. In this order, next is carbon steel is a medium carbon steel. Here is more than 2.5% of carbon to 0.6% of carbon content, normally called as medium carbon steel. It is somewhat stronger than the low carbon steel. It is used for the gear applications, wheel applications, railway wheels, crankshaft. We can make with the help of this medium carbon steel. Main properties of the medium carbon steel: it got good wear resistant metal and high corrosion resistant compared to low carbon steels. It is stronger than the other alloy steels and other non-porous metals. So, these are the applications used for railway wheels, tracks, gears, crankshaft. High carbon steels, it is more than 0.6% to 1.4% of carbon content. So, it is very hardest and strongest and least ductile carbon steel metal. So, it can be alloy with chromium, nickel, tungsten, vanadium, aluminum, can be made as a reduced as a hard content to use for the some other purpose. So, mostly this is application in the cutting tools, metals, cutting dies, embossing dies, saws, concrete drill pits. It is for machining of the low carbon steel. You can use for machining of the low carbon steel. Any other metals it can be used to much more. Here I given for the mild steel, various mild steel, and the first column shows the mild steel is one of another low alloy steels. So it is for less than 0.3 percentage. Normally it is also called as mild steel or low carbon steels. It is used for various applications as shown in this figure. So medium carbon steel and high carbon steel tensile strength we discussed in this session. So 390 to 555 mechanical strength for the mild steels or low carbon steel, around 750 to 1200 tensile strength cutting for the medium carbon steel, more than 1400 to you will get for high carbon steel. Similarly, in harness strength also increases when adding the carbon content, 115 PHN to 140 PHN for the low carbon steel, then 165 to 450, around 450 BHN means it is a Bernal harness number. Then similarly, high carbon steels more than 450 to 600 BHN will get with the help of increasing the carbon content. So this table shows the low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel classified and different classification for based on the properties and applications. Low carbon steel is a soft and ductile, medium carbon steel is a high strength with sufficient ductility, high carbon steel very high strength, high wear resistant harness and less ductility compared to low carbon steel. So low carbon steel property concerned is easy to weld. Medium carbon steel it is can be altered by the property by mechanical heat treatment process, but high carbon steel with very high use for the wear applications, harness more harness and obtain the expenses of ductility and toughness. So application mostly used as a wires, rods, thin sheets are in low carbon steel or other name is a mild steel. Medium carbon steel is used as a gears, agricultural tools, shaft made up of the medium carbon steel. High carbon steel it is made up of rails, hammers, tools, etc. So in this session we are going to discuss about the what are the mechanical property affecting the steel material we are going to discuss. So these are the basics of the mechanical property: tensile strength, compression strength, shear strength, harness strength, fracture strength are shown in here. The different mechanical properties are given in this picture. So these some of the testing procedure are how to measure the mechanical strength of the some metals we are going to discuss in this slides. See examples UTM. UTM means a universal testing machine. In this machine is used to determine the tensile strength, yield strength, ultimate strength, or may be used for shear strength. So you should find out with the help of this kind of machines. Universal testing machine you have done for 4 type of properties you can find out. So in this testing machine we produce for put the specimen as a standard size, ASTM standard size in this machine, then pull the specimen, you will get the stress strain curve or load versus strain you want to find out and make it as a graph. With the help of the graph you find out the different properties of the metal. In this graph is getting from the universal testing machine is a stress strain curve. So in this x axis is a total strain, y axis is a stress. So how much load by area we will get the stress, how much elongation divided by original time or original elongation, original length is we will get the total strain. So in this graph shows a different part, 3 part is a elastic deformation, uniform plastic deformation, then non-uniform plastic deformation. 3 different parts are available here. So first part the elastic component, the metal regain the original position after removal of this within this load. After that plastic deformation is a uniform plastic deformation, the deformation should be uniform, the metal removal metal contraction should be very uniform up to this limit. After that is a fracture deformation, it is non-uniform plastic deformation, maybe the after necking part the uniform may be different, maybe it is very short or it will take this different kind of load taking. So, the dimension should not measured after this deformation. So, these are the different kind of deformation. Normally, it is elastic and plastic classified into two types. Elastic means before the elastic limit the metal should be regained the original position. After the elastic limit the metal will not regain the original position. See, in this picture we shows the different points A, B, C, D, E points. This is shown from the stress strain curve again. So, A point indicates the proportional limit of the metal, then this is B point and the C point is a lower limit and upper limit of the metal, then E points D point shows the ultimate tensile strength of the metal. So, this is what the Stella says tensile strength, normally called as tensile strength means the ultimate tensile strength of the metal. Then E point shows the fracture strength of the metal. So, with the help of like you can find out these kind of properties. Main properties are yield strength, ultimate strength and fracture strength. This graph shows the stress strain of the different metals, engineering materials. Like polymer, if you take, you will get more elastic limit. If you take a glass material, it is have less elastic limit. So, consider as a metal or steel, it is a good elastic limit and also the elastic limit. So, it will have sufficient stress and strain. See the pictures, ceramics are less strain, polymers are more strain. So, that these polymers are in ductile material, ceramics are brittle material and metals are having ductile and brittle material. So, next property we are going to discuss about the hardness properties, very important properties of the metal. Hardness means the ability to resist the indentation of the metal or penetration of the metal. So, this picture shows the Brinell hardness testing machine. Here we use some indenter for the machine to penetrate the any metal or specimen to find out how much penetration per unit for the load. Based on the load you measure how much penetration is occur with the help of some measurement. Here we have different loading devices in this Brinell testing machine. After loading, after applying the hardness or load to the machine can be measured how much indentation occur in the specimen. See, the D is the indented diameter, D1 is the penetration indentation diameter. You want to find out these two diameter D and D1, then applied force is how much you know. You are given for based on the different metal structure, you should use for some different forces, then measure this in Brinell hardness number. So, with the help of this HP is equal to F divided by 3.14 D star multiplication of T minus D square minus dA square or half. So, you should use this formula to determine, you know, the already D value is the indentation diameter, dA is the penetration diameter, you should apply and find out the HP value. So, based on the HP value you should say the metal is harder or softer. So, like normally in steel balls are used in this Brinell hardness testing, a lot of hardness testings are available in nowadays, the micro hardness test, Vickers hardness test, Rockwell hardness test. So, we discuss only for this Brinell hardness testing for the sample. So, here 2.5 10 mm diameters are used for the indenter, then different kind of load 3000 Newton to 30,000 Newtons are used for this test. So, you may use for 5000 Newtons some of the non-ferrous metal, 10,000 Newton load for the copper metal, 30,000 Newton for the testing of steels. So, this is calculated by formula to get this value. With the help of the value the metal should be stronger or longer you can get. So, this is a impact testing machine. So, to measure the impact strength of the metal or steel with the help of this machine is a Charpy impact test or ISOD impact test, we call it as two names. So, when the test based on the test specimen and loading conditions and pendulum condition, you should give us a name. So, test specimen, test piece you should keep in this bottom of this machine, then you can apply the load at the 90 degree or 135 degree to the specimen, and how much energy absorbed before the fracture you should measure with the help of the scale. So, these scales should show the how much energy or in terms of joules impact energy is applied to this metal. Then importantly, the specimen size is important. For here chart P V notch specimen is given here and ISO specimen is given here. So, normally chart P loading conditions horizontally you should use for the specimen, the impact load is in middle, and ISR test specimen the impact should be in the corner, the V notch may be in 1/3 of the size. You should apply some load to find out the joules. In these two machine chart P impact testing and ISR impact testing, we should use for chart P normally in all kind of metals. ISR you can use for the plastic and other metals. So, ISRs are commonly used to machines and for any kind of metals. So, normally we use for V notch or sometimes U notch in the chart P testing. ISR impact testing you should use only V notch. Then the specimen of the chart P test is horizontal, the specimen of the ISR test is a vertical. The common specimen dimension is 55 into 10 into 10 mm. Then for the ISR impact testing 64 into 12.7 into 3.2 mm for normally plastic. For metal 127 into 11.43 mm round bar should use for the ISR impact test. Commonly these are the ASTM standards should use for this chart P test E23, ISR test for T256. This slide shows the effect of and steels of various other alloy elements. So, like chromium, molybdenum, nickel, titanium, tungstens are used for the steel material. So, mostly hardenability and high temperature, ductility, wear resistance, grain size refinement and corrosion resistance, you should use these kind of alloy metals. So, in this slide shows the some of the alloy content used in this steel metal. For this concern, hardenability will be increased. This slide shows for the 3 pluses are very high impact, very high ability, then 1 plus shows the low percentage ability. So, it shows in this figure. The iron, so in this iron it is used for the 3000 years in our nation. So, it is very important metal and aging metal. Normally the iron metals are very good aging properties. If you use the iron metals very long time, the strength of the iron should be increases much more, the strength should be increases day by day. So, let us discuss the what are the phase formation of the iron carbon diagram. Before going to discuss about the iron carbon diagram, we are going to discuss about the base 100% pure iron. In this pure iron, so normally 3 kind of iron formations are occur. So, less than 770 degrees centigrade, the iron alpha iron you will get, it is a BCC crystal structure, it is a paramagnetic structure. Then after that the beta iron, after 770 degrees centigrade you will get the beta iron. That beta iron is a paramagnetic structure, actually the metal lost the iron content. So, after that 912 degrees centigrade to 1394 degrees centigrade, the metal become the gamma iron, it is normally called as the austenitic structure. It is again the phase structure formation is a FCC crystal structure. Then after 1394, the structure will form as a delta iron, the BCC crystal structure. So, the structure has been changed for one by different kind of temperature, from different kind of temperature from these different delta formations. This slide shows the iron carbon alloy phase diagrams. It is in horizontal side is x axis is a steel and y axis is the temperature. So, it shows different formation of the carbon content and phase formation of the carbon content are given. So, this color shows the green colors are the solid state and red color and also the solid state. The violet colors are indicated as a liquid state of the metal. In this stage x axis shows the carbon percentage, y axis shows the temperature of the temperature of this metal. So, when temperature rises, different phase formation occur when in this steel metal. So, steel is normally already I discussed less than 2% of the carbon is steel, then after that is called as cast iron. Then we discuss here is a very important thing. So another one side is after 6.5 percentage you will get the cementite formation. It is very brittle in nature. The left hand side is a ferrite formation. So pure iron at start as a 0 point. So first of all is alpha, it is a ferrite structure, then after that is a gamma austenitic structure, then after that you will get the delta ion, then finally it goes for the liquid stage. So these are the different stages in the iron. That iron, when you add the carbon content, different size cases, different phase formations are occur. So one is austenitic stainless steel, it is occur up to 2 percentage. So why the steels are very important? Because of the austenitic stainless steel. So it is occur up to 2.5%, 2 percentage. So that the austenitic stainless steel gives the lot of strength and toughness property to the metal. That metal, so that's why it is used for largely. So in another thing, so here three kind of reactions are a very important reaction for the iron carbon diagram. So one is occur Utahtite reaction. So Utahtite reactions occur at 723 degrees centigrade at 0.83 percentage of carbon. This point the solid state is transformed into two solids, like is a gamma is transformed into alpha, means is a ferrite, and cemented Fe3C. So one solid transformed into two solids, alpha gamma is transformed into alpha and Fe3C. It is normally called as a Utahtite structure. In this reaction you will get the pearlite structure formation. So this is the one kind of reaction occur at this point. Another one reactions occur at 130 degrees centigrade as 4 percentage of the carbon content. Normally it is occur in the cast iron. So what happened in this reaction? The liquid is transformed into two different solids. So one liquid is transformed into gamma and Fe3C. So gamma means austenitic steel, austenitic structure, and Fe3 is a cementite structure. So one liquid is directly transformed at this point, the point of 4 percentage and 130 degrees centigrade. So another reaction is occur is a paritetic reaction. So at this this reaction is occur at this point of 0.25 percentage. It is occur at this point of 1492 degrees centigrade. In this temperature, the liquid and solid state is transformed into another solid state. So delta plus liquid is transformed into delta solid. So one liquid and solid is transformed into another solid is known as the paritetic reactions. So these are the reaction source in this iron carbon diagram, and different points are located in this iron carbon diagram as shown in this figure. Now I shows the removal of all the colors, and I show the important things for this iron carbon diagram, all the reactions. So see these Utahtite reactions occur, a liquid is transformed into gamma plus Fe3C. It is occur at 1147 degrees centigrade. Is at a 4.3 carbon percentage, are noted in the 3 rounds. Also all the reactions are occur in the 3 points. So in this Utahtite reaction you will get the ladybroite structure. So ladybroite means it is transformed at this 4.3 percentage of carbon, you will get the ladybroite structure. This structure is a combination of austenitic and cementite structure. Then another one structure is a pearlite structure. It is a combination of ferrite and cementite structure. It is occur at 0.8 percentage of carbon and 720 degrees centigrade. I given this all the 3 reaction, important reaction, Utahtite, Utahtite and paritetic. So where this kind of reactions are occur, also they are given. So Utahtite means a liquid transform into 2 different solids, normally called as Utahtite. Liquid transform into 2 solids. Utahtite, one solid is transformed into different 2 solids. So it is solid 1 transformed into solid 2 plus solid 3. Then it is called as gamma is transformed into alpha plus Fe3. It is occur in the iron carbon diagram. So paritetic reaction, it is solid plus liquid transformed into another solid. It is one of the paritetic reactions occur. It is also occur in this iron carbon diagram. I shows all the three equations for the three types of reactions. And this table shows the all the reaction of this phase diagram characteristics in line sketch. You should draw like that. In this eutectic reaction means it is in L, then it is transformed into two solids. When cooling, what happen? When heating, what happen? When cooling, liquid is transformed into two solids. When heating, two solids transform into one liquid. So, these are the equation you can form as a eutectic reactions. You can write like that. Then similarly, in peritectic reaction, solid plus liquid transform into another solid. It is when cooling. Then heating, solid is transformed into two different liquid and solids. Then eutectic reaction similarly like one solid is transformed into two solids when cooling. Then heating, two solids transform into one solid. This is a eutectic reaction. One more reactions also occur. Peritectile reaction. These reactions also occur in this iron carbon diagram. So, these reactions normally called as two solids transform into one solid, another solids. This is also when cooling, two solids transform into one solid. This for peritectile, or when heating, one solid transform into two solids. It is for peritectile reaction. We can write down this all the phase diagram characteristics with the help of this diagram. So, in this sketch you should use liquid is in V shape initially, then to both sides or you should use what are the structure formation when heating or cooling. So, this is the end of this slide of the phase diagram. So, here we are going to discuss about the different microstructure of the steel metal. So, here we analyze for all the points of what are the different points and different temperature, how much phase is upper. So, consider if bottom is a pear-like structure, mostly it is a soft in nature, the cementite formation is very less. Consider this diagram. If you go for the more carbon content, the cementite formation is very higher, the dark lines are occur higherly, the cementite formations are morely occur. Then if you go for the higher temperature, it is more than A3 temperature, the grain structure of the structure should be changing. Before this 723 degrees there is no grain structure formations occur. After 723 degrees centigrade, you have some of the grain structure changes occur. So, it is all given in this figure. So, Fe3C involved in this structure, you will get the hard nature. If you get the alpha ferrite, if you have some ferrite in nature, alpha content is more, you will get the ductile in nature. So, these are the microstructure I shown in this figure for the helpful for this understanding of the microstructure of the iron carbon diagram. So, example, if you take austenitic area, so mostly it is in white area, white structure, you will get only the austenitic structure, there is no any ferrite content or there is no any cementite content in this structure. So, that it is mostly brittle, ductile in nature and very high toughness properties. So, then we have the hyporetatite. If you consider the hyperetatite and hypoetatite. Hypoetatite means it is a less carbon content, hyperetatite means a more carbon content. In less carbon content we have the less carbon content, low carbon steel and medium carbon steel are under this content, high carbon steels are under the hyperetatite steels. So, why high carbon steels are more strength? Because of the hyperetatite. Why? Because hyperetatite is for more cementite formations occur in the steel structure. So, these are the different various microstructure of the iron carbon diagram. Thank you.